Before we start, just a quick note. I didn't add subtitles or voiceover to this video because YouTube now does it automatically. You can choose your language from the settings and watch with subtitles or even with voice translation. Alright, let's get into the video. Welcome to English Podcast Academy. Hi, I'm Olivia. I'm really glad you're here today. You're doing something powerful for your English just by listening. And remember, learning grammar is simple. Here, now, with English Podcast Academy. Here's what we're doing in today's video. First, I'll explain the past perfect continuous tense with 6 simple tips. Then, we'll practice speaking. You'll repeat everything out loud with me. Finally, we'll finish with a relaxing short story using the tense. Let's begin. Tip 1. The form is had been plus verbing. This tense starts with had been and then adds a verb ending in ing. It stays the same no matter who you're talking about. I had been working. She had been crying. They had been waiting. All of them follow the same pattern. You don't change it for he, she, it, or we, and that makes it really simple to use. Just think of it like building blocks: had, been, and then the action with ing. No need to worry about tricky subject changes or strange exceptions. You can use it in the same way whether you're talking about yourself, someone else, or a group of people. It's a steady structure. Once you hear it a few times, it starts to feel familiar. So keep your ears open for that rhythm. Had been, followed by a doing word. That's the foundation of the past perfect continuous tense. Tip 2. Use it to talk about an action that was happening for a while before something else in the past. This tense is all about showing what was already in progress before another event came along. You're talking about something that didn't just happen once. It had been going on for a bit. Take this example. I had been studying before the exam started. You can feel the timeline just from that one sentence. It means that your studying didn't begin at the same moment as the exam. It was already happening. It had already been going on. So first you were sitting there, maybe for hours, reading your notes, reviewing your books, trying to prepare. Then the exam began. The past perfect continuous tense makes that order clear. It helps you show which part of the story came first and which part followed. This structure is great for moments when you want to highlight that something wasn't sudden. It had been happening for some time, and then something else changed it. You're giving depth to your story, not just facts. That's the beauty of this tense. It fills in the background. It tells us what was already in motion before the next chapter began. Tip 3. It focuses on the duration of an action. This tense is really good at answering the question, how long? It's not just about what happened, it's about how long it had been happening before something else came along. Like in this example, she had been sleeping for 3 hours before I called. You're not just saying she was asleep, you're showing that her sleep had been going on for a while. 3 full hours. And then the call interrupted it. That's the power of this tense. It highlights the length of time behind an action. It helps paint the picture. You can imagine her resting deeply, maybe with the curtains closed, the room quiet, the phone silent, until suddenly it rings. The sentence brings that whole moment to life because it includes the time frame. You can do this with any action that takes time. He had been working on the project all morning. They had been driving for hours before they stopped. These sentences don't just tell what was happening. They tell for how long. That detail adds emotion, adds context, and makes your English sound more complete. So whenever you want to show that something had been going on for a stretch of time, before something else happened. This is the tense you want. Tip 4. It makes your stories deeper. This tense doesn't just tell the listener what happened, it lets them feel it. When you say, "I had been waiting in the cold when the bus finally came," you're not just giving a fact. You're letting someone imagine the whole moment. You standing there, maybe shivering a little, checking your watch, looking down the road, hoping the bus would arrive. It wasn't a quick moment. It took time, and that time matters. That's what this tense adds to your English. It gives weight to the waiting. It shows that you weren't just standing there for a second. You were out there, feeling the cold, dealing with it, staying patient. And then, finally, something changed. The bus came. That shift is what makes the sentence feel alive. The longer action leads up to a short moment, and together they create a full story. So when you want your English to be more than just basic communication, when you want it to carry feeling, time, and meaning, the past perfect continuous tense is a powerful tool. It turns simple facts into scenes you can see, hear, and feel. That's how you bring your words to life. Tip 5. The negative form is had not been or hadn't been. This part is simple but really useful when you want to say something didn't continue in the past. For example, he hadn't been eating well. That means for a period of time before now, his eating habits were bad. Maybe he skipped meals. Maybe he just didn't have the energy or the appetite. It wasn't just one day. It was going on for a while, and that's important. Or take this one. They hadn't been talking for weeks. That sentence tells a quiet story. Something happened between them, maybe an argument, maybe distance. And for weeks, not just days, there was silence. No calls, no messages, nothing. That's what this tense does so well. It shows that something wasn't happening, not just once, but over time. So whenever you want to say that something didn't continue in the past, especially for a stretch of time, just slide in had not been or hadn't been. It's clear, it's natural, and it adds depth to what you're saying. Tip 6. For questions, start with had. That's the key to turning this tense into a question. Just move had to the beginning and the structure does the rest. For example, had you been working all day? This isn't just a yes or no question. It's asking about time, about effort, about how long something was happening before now. It could be a friend checking in on you, noticing you look tired. They're not just asking if you worked. They're asking if it lasted the whole day. Another one. Had she been feeling sick before the trip? This tells us there might have been signs. Maybe she looked pale. Maybe she wasn't eating much. And now someone is trying to understand what happened earlier. It's not about this moment. It's about what was going on before. So whenever you want to ask about a long action in the past, start with had, then add the subject, then been, and finally the verb with ing. That's how you turn this tense into a natural question. And once you get the feel of it, it becomes second nature. Okay, your turn. Say these sentences out loud with me. I had been working all morning. She had been crying before I saw her. They hadn't been sleeping well. Had you been watching TV for hours? He had been living in that town for years. We had been waiting in line since 5 o'clock. Let's repeat the last two, period. He had been living in that town for years. We'd been waiting in line since 5 o'clock. Nice work. Let's end with a calm story using this tense. Lena sat quietly at the train station. The benches were cold, and the early morning light made everything feel softer, quieter. The sun was rising slowly, painting the edges of the sky with a warm glow. She had been traveling all night, watching towns and empty fields blur past the train windows. She had been thinking about home, about the streets she grew up on, the familiar smells, the people she missed. She had been thinking about the years she had been away, the holidays she missed, the birthdays she forgot to call. Her phone buzzed, a small vibration in her coat pocket. It was a message from her brother. He had been waiting at the station since 5 o'clock, sitting patiently, looking for her face in the crowd. They hadn't seen each other in 5 years, not since everything changed, not since she left to start a new life somewhere far away. She smiled. Not a big smile, just a soft one, full of feeling, full of memories, of the long wait, all the years, all the calls, all the wondering had been worth it. Because now, in this quiet moment, everything felt right again. You've just learned the past perfect continuous tense, one of the most expressive, emotional, and detailed tenses in English. You spoke it with me. You practiced it. You listened to it in a real moment that made it feel alive. And that's how deep understanding begins. Not by rushing, but by noticing, feeling, and showing up day after day. I'm Olivia, and I'll be right here in the next video, ready when you are. Take care.